This is the 2017 Infiniti Q60 Premium Tech. It's a 2 litre in this variant, and it comes with 211 PS, 350 Nm of torque. This is on the road at around about £40,000 with every option, including sunroof and ultimate Bose sound system. Being a sports coupe, I expect a few things. One of which, I don't expect it to take a huge amount of equipment. I expect there to be a bit of a space deficit all round, not only in the cabin area, but in the boot. I also expect the fuel economy to not be what it says on paper. It says extra urban's around 42 miles per gallon. That's quite a stretch, but the Infiniti computers are quite accurate. In fact, they're scarily accurate to their fuel economy. So the car will be able to tell me without me having to fill up tank to tank. My forever used gear test, a simple but effective means of testing the capability of a car. So already my base is on the back seat. I know it's not going to fit in the boot with everything else, but it is kind of surprising just how much you can fit in the back of this small sports coupe. Car comes with a few options on it. I mean, Infiniti standard do come with everything on them, so you're looking at the paint and sunroof, and that's pretty much the only options on there. So the normal on the road price of this car is £37,000. With options, it's just over £40,000. So let's talk interior. My very first impression of this is that it is a nice interior and that everything is laid out very nicely for the driver. However, for the taller person, the headroom is a little tight. Not in the most horrific of ways. We're not talking like a Mini, where the larger person can, you know, be putting their head 90 degrees sideways. But we're talking that there's a little bit of restriction. However, interior quality is second to none. The stitching is absolutely impeccable. The feel of the seats is magnificent. The heated seats are fantastic. In fact, the heated seats are so good, sometimes they're too hot. And then when you talk about the technology on the inside in the passenger area, you get onto Infiniti's fantastic double sat-nav or double screen sat-nav setup. In what can only be described as the ultimate of ultimate geek tests, today's a double whammy with something different. At around about 5 o'clock today, I'm playing in Trafalgar Square with an artist called Harris J. Then I'm shooting off to something else, and it's kind of one of those ridiculously manic days that you have to turn up stupidly early, having had no sleep, work, and then sit around for ages waiting to actually do the gig, to then run off to somewhere completely different. So this car is going to be my home, solidly, for at least the next 12 hours. Just like that, the first part of the day is done. What an easy drive. Fuel economy, I mean, it's not frugal. It's not going to be an eco diesel, but 40 to 42 miles per gallon, which is a motorway and city mix. And it's comfortable, it's easy to drive, so I don't think I can ask for much more at the moment. But with this car, you also get the Bose Performance Series sound system. Now, in most cars, Bose sound systems are average at best. Usually there's a huge mid-scoop on them, there's not clarity in the bottom end, and you're kind of just paying a premium just for the sake of having, you know, the Bose badge in your car. However, in the Q60, this sound system is absolutely incredible. The clarity in every frequency is just insane. And when it's cranked up at the very high end, you're not noticing any distortion or flapping and the top end is crisp and clear. So passenger space in a sports coupe is, well, what you expect it to be. There is room for passengers in the back, and in fact there are even cup holders for the passengers in the back, which, as I found out, you can fit a bottle of red wine in, which I was not drinking while I was driving. The seats have automatic buttons to assist bringing the seat forward and manoeuvring it back. This means that you don't have that old school issue of passenger in the back. I have to completely move the seat out of position, and that's going to make my life very difficult. And when you look at the boot, you open it and you suddenly think, this is actually considerably bigger than I would see on a C-Class coupe or on a 3 Series coupe. It is substantially bigger, in fact. It's almost on to the point of that size of Q50 big, where I put everything in the back, including the base. However, because it is a coupe and because there is wheel ingress into the boot, you don't get all the space in the world for the taller of items. Next up, a fuel economy test. I mean, let's be honest, it is a 2-litre turbo sports coupe with 200 brake, so I shouldn't be expecting much. But let's hope we can get over 37 combined, which is going to be between motorway and back roads. And like that, I have reached my destination. It's really quick when you do it in film. In fact, it's really quick. That was actually over an hour and a half of driving. What was even more amazing than that is the fact that the car turned around 42.8 miles per gallon. That's combined between dual carriageway / motorway, B roads, A roads, traffic, stopping at a KFC, everything. Now, if you contribute some heavy traffic, that of course will go down. If you then consider that I had nothing, even though I got stuck in some, if I had no traffic whatsoever, I would have got significantly better fuel economy. But where did I end up? Where better than where almost a year ago today I filmed my first Q50 review, but Infiniti Reading. And I happen to have found a Q60 3-litre. Let's have a look at some of the slight differences. The total cost of this car is £40,000. That is a lot of money for a car, but you are getting quite a lot of bang for your buck in the terms of the technology that this car has as standard. Anything from assisted braking to lane assist, and right now the car's braking for me and I've not touched the brake whatsoever. It's brought me to a complete stop, and then it's turned the engine off because it's fuel efficient to do so. So here's the insane thing. My general combined was over 1,000 miles, 34.7 miles per gallon, but that is an actual 34.7. On my first tank, I tested the fuel economy that was showing on here to how much I'd used, how many miles I'd done, and it was exact. So 34.7 miles per gallon combined. While I did do a lot of motorway miles, there's no denying that, there was also a huge amount of town driving and also an insane amount of being stuck in traffic where, because the aircon's on full, the car won't go into shutting down or shutting off. It stays on and pumps the aircon in. The problem with new modern cars is that within reason, because of how safe they are, you have big bars which mean that you're not able to easily see out of them. But in the Q60 you don't have that issue in the slightest. See, the windows are more than big enough to allow you to really not have any blind spots. And I mean, this is really, really easy to park. While this doesn't come with self-park or park assist, it does come with cameras around you and parking sensors everywhere, just letting you know if you're getting a little bit too close to something. When journalists get in this car and they spend an hour or 2 hours with it and they don't spend a great deal of time analysing it, they find a host of issues with it or reasons for them not to like it. I refuse to spend a small amount of time in a car, which is why in the time that I've had this car, I have done over 1,000 miles. I really test the living condition of a car, really. Here are the few things that I don't like. That's the amazing thing. Few things. When you get to know this car, you understand why it does certain things. My first issue is I'm not a big fan of the headroom. That said, you do adjust to it very quickly. The sat-nav top screen, while I'm not a big fan of that they are two different materials, I understand why, and it happens throughout the range. The Q50 has the same issue. And the sunroof. In other manufacturers, you'll see the sunroof being substantially bigger. Substantially bigger. But to make it a cost-effective way for you to have a sunroof, Infiniti aren't putting big sunroofs in their cars. They're making these ones which are, they work, they do the job, but they just aren't huge. They're not giant panoramic sunroofs. When you take all the factors, fuel economy, price, into consideration, this car suddenly starts coming up trumps against some of its competitors. If you want to stand out from everyone else on the road, you'll get an Infiniti. You want a bit of fun, but you want some fuel economy, you will get an Infiniti because you stand out from the crowd. Infiniti will continue to get better and better and better. Through every model and generation of model that they make, they tweak it and refine it further and further and further. And when you look at the fact that there is a 3-litre all-wheel drive with 400 brake horsepower in the Q60, it is insane performance, and you can get them on the road for about £40,000 as well, just without options. That is insane.